Hello there, I'm Stuart Capstick. I'm a research fellow working within the CAST Centre, the Centre for Climate Change and Social Transformations. And this is a short video to offer some reflections on the UK Fire's Absolute Zero report. There's been a lot of interest and attention to this report because of some of its conclusions, and so just wanted to offer some reflections on that. So one of the most interesting things about this report is it reaches some much stricter, starker conclusions about what we need to do to reduce our emissions and other similar analyses. And a lot of this comes down to the fact they have very different starting point, different premises. So for a start, this report, as its name suggests, takes as a starting point that we have to reach absolute zero. So there's no brushing emissions under the carpet, no magicking them away with tree planting or as yet unproven technologies. And it also assumes that we have to take account of our consumption emissions, so the products we buy in from abroad, and that we need to do so in a way that meets our obligations to reduce emissions. So what are some of the conclusions from this report? Well, the starkest ones that will stick out for a lot of people is that by 2050 we need to stop flying entirely, close airports. We also need to stop eating beef and lamb entirely. So other analyses will talk about maybe limiting or reducing flying, eating meat. Those are two of the starkest things. Now, whilst this might sound harsh, the report's authors are at pains to point out that we can still live well and happily even when within the constraints and the changes they outline. So when they talk about living well, they mean spending time with family, leisure time, enjoying each other's company, for example, rather than needing to fly to all four corners of the world for those experiences. So I would encourage anyone to read this report. You may not agree with the conclusions, but if you don't agree with the conclusions, I would ask, how else would you get there if you're not going to use unproven technologies and if you're not going to reduce these very hard to change emissions sectors?